Hey everyone, this is Ross and this is an informational video on why some aquarium plants need CO2 injection and higher light levels than other plants. So first of all, I want to start off saying that not all aquarium plants are actually submerged in water in nature. Some of them are actually marginal plants, like Ludwigia repens for example. Ludwigia repens is native to southern parts of America, I think, and it's actually a marginal plant. Part of it grows above water, part of it grows below water. In some places none of it actually grows in water. As long as there's wet, boggy conditions for it, it'll thrive. So we've kind of took advantage of the fact that it will adapt to grow underwater. So we've used it for the aquarium trade, and it's very hardy. It's a stem plant, so that's fine underwater. But quite a lot of plants that are actually growing above water, they're called terrestrial plants. Quite a lot of those don't do too well underwater without CO2 injection or high light levels. Because when they're actually above water, when they're on the ground or in boggy conditions, they're exposed to the atmosphere, so they're getting all the CO2 that they need, and they're getting all the light that they need. So you have to try and mimic what they're getting on the surface, but underwater. So you've got to put CO2 into the water for them to make it more like the atmosphere. And you've also got to increase the light levels, because when they're on the land, they're getting full sunlight all day. So yeah, a lot of marginal plants, when they're placed in the water, will die off if you don't have CO2 or high light levels. A good example of this is dwarf baby tears. The full name of it is Hemanthias cuba. I've had a bad experience with this. When I was setting up this tank, I actually tried it out, and I just planted it in a dirt substrate, so it had good nutrients, and I assumed that's all it needed, but I didn't do the research properly, and it turned out it was actually a true terrestrial plant. It should have been grown above ground, in just kind of like boggy conditions, wet soil, and in order to keep it underwater you needed CO2 and high light, because that's what it was getting when it was immersed in air. So yeah, Hemanthias cuba is a very good example of that, and you should only try and grow that when you've got CO2 and high light levels. Another example of a marginal plant that's often used in aquariums is Riccia fluitans. It's actually a floating plant, so it's not actually marginal. It doesn't have any roots, it just floats on the surface of water, and yet again that's getting all the light and CO2 that it needs because it's exposed to the air. So what Takashi Amano did, famous aquascapist from Japan I think, he had the idea of tying it to pebbles or mesh and weighing it down on the bottom of the aquarium to create a nice lone effect in the aquarium. It was very popular, but because Riccia fluitans was grown as a floating plant, it was getting everything it needed, and there's just not enough CO2 in the aquarium water to sustain it. So in order to keep Riccia fluitans, you need to inject CO2 and also give it higher light levels, because yet again it's getting all the light it needs at the surface, but it's just not getting that underwater. There's a few more examples, but I'll just go on and the video will be very long. So yeah, they're two quite good examples, dwarf baby tears and Riccia fluitans. So just really do your research about your plants when you get them, because quite a lot of them might not actually be true aquatic plants. I know a lot of pet stores lately are actually selling terrestrial plants, like house plants, that should really be in the air and would really require a lot of CO2 and a lot of light to keep underwater, and they miss selling them to people, and people are putting them underwater, just a good substrate, no CO2, no bright lights, and they're just melting away and dying. So really do your research on aquatic plants to make sure they are truly aquatic plants before you buy them. Most plants like stargrass or Ludwigia repens will be fine, but smaller foreground plants that have been grown above water, you really do need to do your research on them. Alright, so if you like this vid, then please leave a nice comment, please like the video, and please subscribe. Bye.